It's really a disgrace. He won't have time, and he's got better things to do. He's now got over feeling the sadness and anger that he felt before, and he doesn't think about it too much. And she's demanding it. She's not hoping it would happen and sending a few bits and bobs, jam and stuff like that. I mean, it's just, I am very important and I have to know what you're going to do about this when you're dead.
Breaking right now, Meghan Markle is demanding a showdown with King Charles over her titles as she sends the suffering monarch a whole load of as-ever products, despite the fact they're not being shipped to the UK. Let me just tell you, I think he'll be avoiding that jam, that scam jam, given he produces a much better quality version of himself. But let me just take you through this because it really is particularly gross. Moaning Meghan Markle is demanding a summit meeting with cancer-stricken King Charles after learning of a palace coup to strip her and Prince Harry of their royal titles. Harry's elder brother, Prince William, wants to remove their prized Duke and Sussex honours, and 43-year-old Meghan is anxious that will torpedo her fledgling lifestyle brand as ever. This is all according to Radar Online. Markle wants to meet King Charles to receive assurances that their titles will not be removed even after the monarch's death. Now, they've actually spoken to a courtier who told them Harry and Meghan are increasingly anxious about their waning influence in America, and news that Prince William is insisting they be stripped of their royal titles has plunged them into a state of panic. Their titles represent their last vestige of support in the US, and losing them would be nothing short of disastrous. Meghan needs that royal cachet to sell her as-ever products. For Harry, such a loss would be devastating, and for Meghan it would mean more humiliation plus damage to her brand and money-making potential. The mounting pressure is weighing heavily on her, causing her immense distress. She wants to meet with the king and get some assurances from him she and Harry will be able to keep their titles after he dies. Angela Levin, our royal mastermind biographer of both Prince Harry and Queen Camilla, joins me now. Angela, this is completely outrageous. If Meghan Markle believes that sending some of her as-ever tat over to King Charles is going to make any difference, then she's totally delusional. Here's the reality, Angela. King Charles and Prince William have cut all contact with Meghan and Harry for very, very good reason.
Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews and special royal episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she even had the audacity to say, I hold him in such regard. Oh, oh yes, pull the other one, as they say. It's really a disgrace. He won't have time, and he's got better things to do. He's now got over feeling the sadness and anger that he felt before, and he doesn't think about it too much. And she's demanding it. She's not hoping it would happen and sending a few bits and bobs, jam and stuff like that. I mean, it's just, I am very important and I have to know what you're going to do about this when you're dead, and I hope he stays up in Scotland for a long time. And by that time, wherever it is, it's got lost, because a lot of the things she has sent to people, they've got lost, and often they haven't got the one of the two things in the box if it does get there. And where she says, I'm so sorry, she will make sure you get something else instead. She's no longer going to do that because she can't find the receipt. So this is her attitude. So King Charles can easily say, or get one of his aides, not he wouldn't say it, get an aide to say, I'm so sorry, it hasn't arrived, or it's arrived and it was empty, we haven't got it, I'm so sorry, and actually play her own game back. But actually they're more likely to take absolutely no notice, and quite right too. It's not their business, and she of all things, who actually behaves towards the royal family as if they mean nothing, doesn't deserve to have any royal family call.
Totally. And the thing is, Angela, no wonder Charles and Camilla and William and Catherine are not returning their text messages or their phone calls. There was always a consequence for the publication of Spare. There was always going to be a consequence for the Harry and Meghan Netflix horror, and particularly a consequence, by the way, for taking Charles's own government to court. This is the consequence. Deal with it. Sending some of your scam jam over the Atlantic is not going to make a difference. But what's also very interesting, Angela, is that overnight, the Daily Beast have reported on this outrage that Meghan Markle has apparently attempted to claim to the public that Her Royal Highness, that title which she's not allowed to use, is something that foreign dignitaries are actually referring to. Now, what's really interesting about this was from the Ukrainian Vice President, Yulia. Now, you'll know that Harry was in Ukraine, which is a whole other story.
90 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And given he says, oh, it's so unsafe in the UK for me, but, you know, I'm going to go to Ukraine. Yeah. But if you actually look at this LinkedIn post, exactly, this LinkedIn post from Yulia Angela, what's so interesting, you'll see there, and this is really critical, I've circled Meghan Markle at the top, because then when Meghan posted it on Instagram, she got rid of that top of the post so that it began with Your Royal Highness. Now, the Daily Beast and their very well-connected royal editor or European editor at large, Tom Sykes, has been looking into this. And not surprisingly, Angela, this has caused huge consternation with the palace. It's worth me taking you through it because he's done some very good reporting on this. So he writes that Meghan Markle has provoked outrage among friends of the royal family after publishing a message addressing herself as Your Royal Highness. However, Meghan has called that Sandringham Summit agreement into question by publishing a letter from Ukraine's vice president on Instagram using the greeting this weekend. Buckingham Palace declined to comment, but a friend of King Charles III told the Daily Beast that he would be dismayed at Markle posting a screen grab to Instagram of a message from a senior Ukrainian Vice Prime Minister, Yulia Svajdenko, that began Your Royal Highness. And this is what the friend of the king said. It's outrageous. Every time you think they can't make it worse, they make it worse. The deal with the HRH was a way to stop them cashing in while letting them walk away with pride and dignity and trust. And now Markle is using her HRH on a website which seems to exist to sell jam. They say they want a reconciliation. I'm sure the king's first reaction will be dismay, but he simply doesn't allow himself to get angry about things like this anymore. But then an expert who knows the family added to the Daily Beast, there were plenty of people at the time who said it was a mistake to make not using the titles a mere gentleman's agreement rather than just removing it. This post may not matter in and of itself, but it raises a bigger question. What are they going to do if she simply starts using her HRH again? She probably can't be stopped as things stand right now. The bottom line is she is officially an HRH. It was never removed. And tellingly, Markle's office did not respond to a query from the Daily Beast asking if the post meant either that she would henceforth not correct people using her HRH title or that she intended to actively start using it herself again. And Angela, this is why I have always been so clear, ever since before the Sandringham Summit, the titles should have just been removed. She wants to be Her Royal Highness.
Yep, absolutely. Now, in retrospect, it sounds that it was all very wrong. But at the time, I think that Buckingham Palace, the king, and everybody involved in it didn't want to make more of a staff than actually was needed. And so they wanted to go very carefully. And they thought that if they didn't do that, they could leave with dignity. And it wouldn't be quite so bad for them. But of course, the dignity's long gone, and their behaviour hasn't fallen in with what they said, which was they wouldn't use the royal name when they were trying to make lots of money. Commercial gain is the actual word, and they didn't really want that to happen. So it's a very difficult thing to have decided, but very wrong now in retrospect that they didn't actually go at the time.
And then, of course, we come to this debacle over Prince Harry's court case and the security. But I just wanted to show you one of these brilliant memes. You know, sometimes, Angela, something comes up on the internet and it's just so good because it sums up a story actually better than sometimes we can. And this is one of those examples. The Prince Harry hokey cokey. They tried to trap us in. They tried to force us out. In, out, in, out. My lies have been caught out because, Angela, he doesn't know whether he's coming or going on this. Like, did they want him? Did they not want him? He was trapped. And of course, we had this ludicrous interview with the Daily Telegraph where he said, oh, you know, we're just trying to create a happy house and everything that's come out in court is just so terrible. My worst fears have been confirmed. You know, this is all some sort of conspiracy, according to Prince Harry, Angela.
Yeah, well, it's absolutely extraordinary that a man who might be terribly intelligent, but he is intelligent, people say he's not, but he has actually got some intelligence, should keep asking again and again and again for the king to deal with the government and let him have our tax money to help him look after himself and his family 24/7. And the King Charles has let it be very carefully known that he can't do that to the government. That's the end of it. He cannot do that. But he keeps going on and on and on about it. And then just behaving like a child, actually, sort of being very spoilt and spiteful and actually getting his own way and determined to do that. It will be a disaster if the court decides that he can have some money, because if he gets it for just this country, it won't be enough, certainly not for Meghan. Meghan, suddenly she will like it here because they don't have to pay and she can get a lot of information which she can sell and to Netflix, and they can get another contract. But otherwise, if they get it for here, they will want it for all around the world. It would cost us a fortune. Why should we give our tax for them to go running around the whole world making rude comments about the royal family? They can't do that, and they're not going to do that. I think it would be very wrong to do that. And the police are now very angry with Harry for saying that it was all done deliberately. They wanted to force them back. I don't think they wanted to force them back. They don't at all. They want to keep them out the way for as long as possible because they're getting worse and worse. I think they don't get more desperate, especially, and because one day she's kind to him, the next day she's not. One day she kisses him all over in public. Another day she gets rid of him for a week so that she can have space for herself. And he doesn't know where he is, but he does know that she wants that to work, and he wants to be proud that he's done it for her. And so he's absolutely all over the place. He doesn't know what he's doing, and he's making a complete fool of himself, I think.
Meanwhile, Angela, speaking of making a fool of himself, this Centre Bali charity disaster ain't going anywhere. I know it's gone a little bit quiet over the past few days. I haven't heard from Dr. Sophie Chandoka again, but that court case isn't going away. However, Angela, Sue Reid, very good journalist for the Daily Mail, has actually gone to Lesotho and written a really damning investigation, which is headlined How Harry's HIV Charity, that promises never to forget, has left behind the very Lesotho orphans it was set up to save. And look, there's so much damning stuff in this article, Angela, but I just want to read out just one paragraph for you, where she writes about a particular family, the Matila clan. And she says, last October, the Matila clan, some with no shoes, watched in awe as smart cars swept past their shack, taking Harry to the HQ to celebrate nearly 2 decades of Centre Bali's work in Africa. Prince Harry didn't wave or stop to say hello to any of us when he drove by to the ceremony. Like so told me last week as she stood on the dirt road outside her home, half a minute's walk from the charity's headquarters. I have asked his Centre Bali to give my grandchildren a few meals, even some clothing, the staff at the door have always said no. We have got nothing from them. And that's just one small anecdote, Angela, in a feature which paints a damning picture of Centre Bali. Far, far, by the way, before Dr. Sophie Chandoka came on the scene. Harry has real questions to answer here, does he not?
He does, but I think all his humility and looking after people has disappeared. I think he feels he's got enough to do with himself, and he's the one that counts. So all the humanitarian side of him, which was very strong when I was with him a long time, 2018. It's all evaporated because he can't deal with himself and he can't deal with Meghan, and everything's awful. So he just doesn't want to know. He's not interested. He's not putting anyone else before him. Now, I can just say this at maybe the right time with King Charles. Camilla was saying, somebody asked him when they were in Italy, will he stop working now? And she said, you'll be lucky, which is a very unqueen-like thing, but very nice. And she said, what's keeping him going is helping others. And I think that that's what keeps him going. Whereas Harry doesn't want anything to do with other people's need. If he goes somewhere, he's back very quickly. And it's just to get photographs of himself now, because he's into that too, despite saying that every time he hears a camera go, he thinks of his mother and it upsets him terribly. That's gone too. So I think all the sensitivity of his world once was very important, and now it's really all about him because he's trying to save himself, and I don't think he's doing it very well.
No, I know. Now, Angela, can we speak about King Charles and Queen Camilla and this state visit to Italy? Now, you obviously know the Queen very well. You're her biographer as well as Prince Harry's. And she spoke out on this trip saying, no way is Charles going to slow down. And obviously I understand that, Angela, because he has waited his whole life for this very important role, has been struck down with incurable cancer. So I totally understand. But Angela, in that photo with the Pope, remember the Pope has just recovered from his own near-death experience. I am concerned about how Charles is looking. And don't you think there has to be a balance? Like, we need him to be available for these big events, the state events, all of that sort of thing. Does he not need to slow down a little bit?
I think actually it's a very good idea he keeps going as long as he can. I think, well, I know Camilla makes him rest a bit, but he just won't listen. And I think it's not just because he's been waiting all this time, it's because that's what he cares about. He wants to meet as many people as he can every day. He wants to talk to them. I spent a year with him. I didn't write a book, I wrote in a magazine. And he spoke to everyone. It was students. He spoke to every one of them. And he does now do that now. He likes to know what people are like, what they're feeling, catching the mood of the atmosphere. He does look pale in that picture you've just shown, but I think he would look a great deal paler if he didn't do anything. I think it would really upset him. And
I know. And it's, look, I appreciate, Angela, what a fine line this is, okay? Because he is someone who, as you know, from having spent a year with him, he has a monumental work ethic. He works all hours of the day, and he's always been very focused on his health because he probably knew that given how long his grandmother lived, the Queen Mother, he knew that it was unlikely that his own mother would die young. So he would probably take the throne at an old age. But he is he's 76 and he is undergoing quite brutal treatment. So I'm not saying at all that he should be bowing out from all events. My argument, Angela, is for some of these, how do you put it, like the more minor events, Give them to Sophie, the Princess of Edinburgh. Give them to potentially even Princess Eugenie and Beatrice, who are desperate to do more work. Call in Zara and Mike Tyndall, for example, who would help out. But I just think he's got to be careful not to run himself into the ground when he's undergoing this treatment.
He did all the things
Yes, he
for
did.
a few days.
He did. No,
And
it was
they
a few
also-
months, wasn't it? He did take some proper time off.
And Camilla knows how much he loves Scotland, and she's always encouraging him there. And he goes there, and when they're there, it's walking, it's relaxing. They might do one or two things a day, or even just one, and that sort of brings back the energy and gives him peace, and I think that's worth it. But you work incredibly hard, don't you? You work very hard. I don't think you would like to stop.
No, and I get it. But all I'm saying is that he is undergoing treatment. So
Yeah.
Catherine returned to work in a major way once her treatment had ended. As I say, I'm just looking at that picture of his face,
Catherine,
Angela, and he's just, it's just sad to see. He's aged so
Catherine-
significantly.
Catherine spreads it out, doesn't
Yes,
she?
she does.
She doesn't do it one after the other. And 4 days, it was incredibly busy then. But it was their 20th anniversary, and I think they both wanted to really enjoy it. And the way they were...
Yeah. And he's the king. He's the king. Look, he signs up to his mother's motto, which is that the royal family has to be seen to be believed. And
Yes.
I get that. I do get that. I think it's just a bit of a balancing act, but I think it would be, irresponsible not to mention the fact that he is still undergoing this treatment. His treatment
We all have
has
to
never
recognise
ended.
that.
He is not in remission from cancer. He continues to have this cancer. He continues to undergo treatment. And that is obviously a very difficult thing, a sad thing for the country as well, to have a monarch who has potentially an incurable disease. But Angela Levin, really brilliant to have you back. Goodness me, so much went on, didn't it, on my week off?
It was amazing. I thought, oh, come on, let's get back to it.
I know. My goodness, it's all been going off. So we will speak later in the week.
The discussion begins with reports suggesting Meghan Markle hopes to secure a private audience with King Charles. According to the reports being discussed, the alleged purpose of such a meeting would be to seek reassurance regarding the future of the Sussex titles. Commentators argue that the titles continue to hold significant commercial value, particularly in the United States, where the Duke and Duchess remain highly recognizable public figures. Some believe maintaining those titles is important for the couple's personal brand and future business ventures. However, there has been no official confirmation that any such meeting has been requested or arranged. As a result, much of the discussion remains based on media reporting and speculation. The conversation then shifts to why royal titles remain such an important issue. Since stepping back from official royal duties in 2020, Harry and Meghan have continued using their Duke and Duchess of Sussex titles, while agreeing not to use the style of His Royal Highness or Her Royal Highness for commercial purposes. Commentators suggest that the Sussex titles remain one of the strongest links connecting the couple to the royal family. Supporters argue that these titles are legally theirs unless formally changed. Critics contend that continuing to benefit from royal branding while no longer carrying out royal duties creates ongoing controversy. This debate has remained unresolved for several years. Royal commentators featured in the discussion express strong criticism of the reported developments. They argue that recent events, including Prince Harry's memoir, television interviews, documentaries, and legal disputes involving government security arrangements, have significantly damaged relationships within the royal family. From this perspective, they believe any expectation of private negotiations over titles is unrealistic. Others, however, note that family relationships can remain complicated even after periods of public conflict, and that private discussions between relatives should not automatically be ruled out. Without confirmation from those directly involved, these differing interpretations remain speculative. Another major theme throughout the discussion concerns the relationship between commercial ventures and royal identity. Commentators argue that Meghan's business projects inevitably attract additional attention because of her royal connection. Some believe this is simply a consequence of public recognition built over many years. Others argue that continued commercial references to royal status blur the distinction between private enterprise and former public duty. This remains one of the central debates surrounding the Sussexes' post-royal careers. The discussion concludes by considering whether reconciliation between Prince Harry and the royal family remains possible. Years of public disagreement have undoubtedly strained relationships. Some commentators believe trust has been damaged beyond repair. Others argue that family relationships can evolve over time and that private conversations may eventually lead to improved understanding. At present, however, there has been little public evidence suggesting that formal reconciliation is imminent. Future developments will likely depend on actions rather than speculation. Ultimately, this latest controversy highlights how discussions surrounding Prince Harry and Meghan Markle continue to generate widespread interest and debate. Reports concerning meetings, titles, branding, and royal protocol remain subjects of intense media attention, but many of the strongest claims discussed in today's program have not been independently confirmed. As always, separating verified facts from opinion and anonymous reporting is essential when following royal news. Whether these latest reports signal meaningful developments or simply another chapter in ongoing speculation remains to be seen. What do you think? Should the Duke and Duchess of Sussex continue to retain their royal titles after stepping back from official duties, or should those arrangements eventually be reconsidered? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more balanced royal news and analysis.